Hey, Daily Dosers. My name's Austin. I'm one of the high school pastors here at North Coast. And I want to take you on a little bit of a journey right now. You ever have one of those songs stuck in your head that you feel like it's just up there, and you turn on the radio and it's there, and you press shuffle on a Spotify playlist and it's there, it's in a commercial. Lately, the story of Moses, for whatever reason, feels like that in my life. It's popped up in a couple of different places, and I've gotten to guest teach somewhere and the topic is Moses, or I just feel like God is really using this story in my life. And so I've been researching and studying and looking, and there's this one particular scene in Exodus chapter 33 where God and Moses are having this epic interaction, this conversation, and Moses has this boldness that he definitely didn't have in Exodus chapter 3. In 3 and 4 of the book of Exodus, he doubts God 7 times. There's this weird interaction back and forth where he hides, he runs from a snake, and yet in Exodus 33 we see this boldness, and we see him saying, God, if you don't go before me, we don't want to go. And God says, I will be with you, Moses, I know you by name. And then Moses says, show me your glory. And there's this big bold ask, and then God says, you can't handle my glory. Hey, I'll put you in this little cleft in a rock and I'll pass by you. But he says, nobody may look at me, may look into my face and survive. And it's this epic moment between God and Moses, and it makes me think about how big my God is. And so I'm thinking of that. And then I hear this topic that we're tackling in the Daily Dose of loving one another. And the passage that instantly popped into my head was 1 John chapter 4. And if you want something to read on your own time, 1 John chapter 4, verses 7 all the way through the end of chapter 4, just this amazing back and forth compilation of how we should love one another and why we should love one another, and that our love is a response to God's love. And the Bible's not about us loving him, but it's a response of we were loved first, and so we should love. But there's these two verses I want to read for you. It says this: Dear friends, since God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. No one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us and his love is made complete in us. And I had a light bulb go on. That when we love one another, we actually help other people see God. And there was this weird tie between those two passages where God goes, hey, no one can see me and survive it. And yet so much of our role as followers of Jesus is helping other people see God through our love for them and through our love for each other, right? John chapter 13, Jesus says, this is how you'll be known as my disciples, if you love one another. And it was such a cool light bulb for me, because so often I feel like loving God and loving others is kind of the step 1, step 2 of being a Christian. You're like, all right, I should love God more. Okay, fine, I should love other people more. And it's almost this obligation. And I read these verses, and in light of Exodus 33, where God's like, you can't handle seeing my glory and my power, it's like, whoa. We now as believers get to help other people see that God through our actions. The way that we love our spouses, the way that we love our coworkers, the way that we serve the people around us, the way that we demonstrate grace and mercy helps people catch these little bits and pieces and these fragments of God. It says no one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God dwells in us, and other people get to see that God dwelling in us through the way that we love each other. It changes it from a have to a get to in a really, really cool way. So today, maybe a invitation of a slight shift of how do we help the people around us actually see that God who says, no one can see me, look at me face to face and handle it. And yet because of Jesus, who now dwells within us, we get to help other people see that God through our love. Not a have to today. What a rad get to. What a cool invitation. What an awesome challenge. That's a good one for me, and I hope it is for you today too. We'll see you tomorrow.